Hello, this is Larry Nordlinger, and we're going to start the webinar right now. Glad you're with us today. This is a Nintex executive briefing. The webinar is designed to show people how to create rapid ROI solutions with human resource solutions using Nintex Forms, Workflow, and Mobile. And so basically, I'll show you the agenda in a second. But right now, this is who I am. I'm Larry. I'm the one on the left, my wife on the right. This is us away from the office. Just a little fun slide there. But I'm CEO of SharePoint Revolution. I am a Nintex partner, and this is our agenda for the day. A brief introduction, which we're doing now, and then a discussion about rapid ROI solutions for human resource, and then a live demo. We're going to show hopefully at least two of these three, maybe all three: the employee onboarding demo, the leave request demo, and the expense report demo. And then we'll wrap it up with a special offer from SharePoint Revolution, and then there'll be a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card for those of you who stay until the end. And then we'll discuss next steps. So why do our customers buy from Nintex? Well, there's three main areas of interest that draw them. One is they found that they can get more out of their SharePoint investment if you add Nintex to the solution. It's the quickest way to get a return on your investment, and that's the topic we're going to address for a few minutes today. And it will drive adoption of your current platform. Some people have a SharePoint site and they've had it for a few years, or maybe they're new, and there's not as much activity as was expected. Well, using Nintex to create forms and workflow solutions is a great way to add a lot of extra value to your SharePoint site. Secondly, when we engage with a prospective client, with this client, well, we're going to be involved in an analysis process to help you find and reduce or eliminate bottlenecks in your processes. And so we often, other than just helping smooth things out, sometimes we find some things that have been done one way that really could be improved altogether completely. And so we drive success in multiple lines of business. It's not always the IT department that comes to us. It's often a line of business leader. And then thirdly, it's a way to decentralize the development, freeing up the IT department. Instead of the IT department, being engaged in all these projects, we can actually, in concert with the IT department, we can help a group of people within any company to free up time by teaching them how to do the workflows themselves. And some workflows are very simple, some workflows are more complex. But if you begin with the simple and work toward the complex, most power user type people are very attuned to learning this and can, again, free up a lot of time for the IT department. Well, we find ourselves with all these everyday processes that need improvement, or there's all kinds of needs that come up. For example, you've got people coming to us saying, hey, I need an expense report approved. I need this document reviewed. I need a vacation request. Can you approve this vacation request? Purchase the equipment purchase, and all these things. And then these needs just grow and grow and grow. I need employee onboarding, etc. We find that we often, and this just grows and grows and grows, as you can see by this slide, typically we come to a company for one particular need that they express. For example, it might be human resource. That's who we're going to focus on today. But it might be a need for onboarding, for new employees, or it might be an IT need of helping, provision equipment and user accounts more quickly. Could be sales, could be marketing, could be any of these. But typically, we start with one department. We teach a group of people how to use Nintex, and then it goes all throughout the enterprise. And so what we find ourselves doing is automating processes between people and content, which greatly improves productivity and control. We've got all kind of information workers today, and that are all different departments. They're all over the place, and we have different kind of processes from the simple to the sophisticated. And there's a few examples listed below. And then our data is everywhere. It's on servers, it's on the cloud, it's in Microsoft Dynamics and SharePoint, it's in Google Cloud, Box, CRM Dynamics, and so on. And so we have a way of connecting all those together, the people, the processes, the content. And that's why we say Nintex is workflow for everyone. And here again is a simple illustration of things popping up within departments. Again, today we're just about to turn the corner and focus specifically on human resources, and the demos are just about to follow. But this is an example of the kinds of things that each department has typical interest in. All right, hold on, this is going an extra time. I'm just going to bump this out for a second. Excuse me. Go down to here. All right, I've got just a couple more slides and then we'll do the demo. One thing I wanted to certainly point out was that Forrester Research Company did a total economic impact study on Nintex workflow and found that the typical company that implemented Nintex workflow platform saw a 176% return on their investment in just an 11-month payback period. So this is incredible. So if you already have Nintex, great. If you don't have it, there's a strong story to say, hey, we can get back our investment double by the end of a year in 1 year's time. We can't promise that for everybody, but that's been the pattern. Just briefly, here's a few of our customers. These are all large enterprise customers. And just to let you know, we work with large enterprise customers and small customers and everywhere in between. And this solution does work also on Office 365 as well as server-based products. And now we are ready for the demo. So sit back and let's go into this. One moment. I'm going to begin. I told you I was going to try to do 3 demos for you. I'm going to start with the simplest one, which is the leave request, but it proves a point pretty nicely. So let's just begin here. So here we are in SharePoint. This is, for those of you who may not know, again, Nintex works right on top of SharePoint. And so here is a simple SharePoint list called leave requests, and we're just going to add a new record to this, and it's going to kick off a workflow.
And I always take a little bit more to get it here, so I'm ready for it.
Okay, excuse me. So I'm going to do this first request here. I'm going to say I need a vacation. Let's have some fun in the sun. All right, leave type. Let's say that is annual leave. Start date. I need to go soon. I'm going to go on Monday next week, Thanksgiving week. Oops. Oh, by the way, we got some sort of European formatting here on the dates. Don't let that bother you. And let's go all the way. Let's make it 2 weeks. So we've got a 2-week break going on. And I'm just going to save this. And it's going to kick off a workflow. By the way, that was a simple SharePoint form. I'm going to show you in a minute. Nintex also has a solution for making the forms look nicer and perform more intelligently. So here's a workflow. It's been kicked off. It's gonna send a message to my boss, who should receive it in just a moment. In the meantime, I have right now I'm logged in as Richard Rowe, and I look like Superman right here. If you can see that up in the far right corner. And then my supervisor is somebody called Jane Doe. Let me go to her record, see if she has received my email yet. Okay, we don't need that right now. 1 second. So let's just go see the workflow itself. Going back to the leave request where we began, and I'm going to go open up this list, and in the ribbon you see the typical Microsoft Office type ribbon, typical SharePoint ribbon, and within it we've got Nintex workflow. And I heard a little ding in the background. I think that should be the approval request from Richard Doe to Jane, from Richard Rowe to Jane Doe. Let's go take a look and see if Jane received the request. I got two different browsers going on here. By the way, you probably, some of you already recognize it, but I'm actually using an Office 365 version of Nintex today. We can use either, but today I'm demoing on this one. So let's look and see if that was Jane getting a new email. All right, it's refreshing slowly, probably because you guys are all watching. By the way, I had an internet crash about 10 minutes right before we got started, but I'm going to refresh that one more time. Okay, that's not coming right now. We'll come back to that. But let's go back to the onboarding, to the leave request. So here's what the workflow looks like. It will take about 20, 30 seconds to load for the first time. But what I want to show you is, if you haven't seen the Nintex workflow canvas yet, this is what I'm getting into. Basically, with Nintex, you've got a bunch of conditions, a bunch of actions, and you drag them off of the canvas, drag them off of this panel over here that's grayed out right now while it's waiting to open this, and then you drag the action that's necessary to put your workflow together. So here, I'm going to go, while this is waiting, I'm going to go one more time and see if Jane, something's going on. I'm going to actually close that and try again. So let me just try to open up her email again. Let's do it more manually. Excuse me for a second. All right, here we go, back to the mail. And hopefully she'll have something by now. There we go. Yeah, something was hung up with the email. I apologize for that. But here we go. This is the type of email that she would have received automatically. And I'm just going to open it up. And you see it says the subject, task assigned, approve annual leave request for Richard. Okay, yeah, task assigned, approve annual leave for Richard Rowe. And it gives some information. It says Richard Rowe is requesting annual leave from this date until this date. Again, we got the backwards format here. And he wants some fun in the sun. And then over here, we just have to click on this to open up the form and have an opportunity to review, approve, or deny. If we approve, then we just simply hit a button. If we deny it, we're asking that there be a reason and a comment why it's denied. In my example today, it does not, this is not actually required, but we could make it required. Conditionally, we could say if this is rejected, make the comment a required field. But for me, I'm just going to go ahead and do an approval. And down here, we'll do a submit. And that will get things rolling. And I'm seeing about a 5-second delay between what I can see and what you can probably see. So here we go. You're now looking at the the task list has now all been checked off because the approval has happened from Jane to Richard. So now that has happened, then he will get a notification back to him saying, hey, you're good to go. And the last thing I'll show you here, hopefully it's posted by now, we've got a leave request calendar that once an approval has been settled, yeah, here we go, it shows the person their time on the calendar, so that you could, if your company was large, you could do this by department or sub-department. If you had a smaller company, it might just be one calendar. But basically, you've got a way to just post on the calendar where everybody knows when Richard is available or not, and when other people within the company are available or not. So let me go back where I was a minute ago and show you the workflow, hopefully. Yeah, here it is. It's going to pop up on your screen in just a moment. Okay, yeah. So this is how that workflow works. Basically, it begins, there's a setting up here that says you can start this workflow manually, or you can start it when an item is created. In this case, the item was the leave request entry. And so I'm going to cancel that. And once you start the workflow, the first thing that happens is that an email is being sent to the employee themselves who made the request, saying, hey, your leave request was received. And I don't even think we showed you that, but that was right here. It says here, and this is Richard's email, and right here is where that email was pushed to him saying your annual leave was received. Let's go back to the workflow, excuse me. And so you can make this email as elaborate as you want, and you can put in any field that is within the SharePoint list or other related lists can go in your correspondence in the body and the subject of the email. So that was that step. And then here's where we do an assign a task. And the task is that somebody needs to review this and approve it. And so this is where it got sent to his boss. And then once the boss approved or rejected, if they rejected, there would have been an email sent to them that says, hey, your leave request was rejected. In this case, the leave request was accepted. And so this is where the item was sent to the calendar to show the days that the start date and the end date, start date, end date, and the name of the person. And that's what was happening with this action. So this, as you can see, this is each of these actions. Simply, if you just double click on them, you just fill them out. And there's some of them are very simple to fill out, some of them are a little more complex. But that's how that works. And then an email is sent to him, the happy email that says, hey, you are good to go. Your approval, your vacation request has been approved. All right, so let's close this. That was the easy one. Now I'm going to do a more sophisticated one, which is the employee onboarding. This is really a cool process. So I'm going to go over here. I'm still in the HR section. I'm still logged in as Richard Rowe. I'm going to go down here to employee onboarding. All right, so we're going to start this by entering in a record. All right, looks like things are responding quicker now. This is great. So you're going to see a more a better looking form, if you will. This one is built by Nintex, and this is HTML5 based form. Well, I'm going to put in a record for. I'm going to cheat a little bit by popping in. Let me see if I can do this. I've got this robo form or my little helper here. Let me see if I've got this to work right. We'll try. Yeah, that worked. I've got a demo record called Zorro, a guy named Zorro Garcia. And here's his email. He's a graphic artist. Let's put him in the graphics department. His manager is also going to be Jane. Jane Doe. And his start date, let's say Zorro needs to start today. There's his email again. Well, I'm gonna pay Zorro $50,000 to be a graphic artist at our company. So let's do that. I'm gonna skip the status for now. I could put an attachment if I wanted to, but I don't have one for the moment. So let's just go here and I'm gonna save this record. Now, so the idea is employee onboarding can be very tedious, very, very cumbersome. There's many steps. Different companies have different ones, but it can be anything from sending a welcome letter to making sure their work area is ready. You could send notices to people that should be responsible to help set that up. They need equipment from IT. They need logins and usernames, passwords, and things from IT. They need to begin with, they need an offer letter to say, hey, are you going to take this job? So let's see. Some of this happens a little bit slowly, but let's see if the first step has happened. The first step is supposed to be that there's an approval. I think I heard a beep. Hopefully that's a happy sound. I'm going to go over here to Jane Doe's record, to Jane Doe's persona. Let's go over here to her email. Yeah, great. So here I am. Here's Jane Doe. She kind of looks like Lois Lane. And there's an email here waiting for her that says, please approve employment proposal. And within this employment proposal, there is some information about, the hiring of Zorro Garcia has been proposed with the salary. Again, I'm using European currency here. It looks like euro. Not a gyro, that's something to eat. But I'm hungry. It's lunchtime over here on the East Coast. And we're going to have a start date of the 19th and so on. So we want to know if this should be rejected or approved. Well, let's open up this hyperlink. And it has the basic information that we just read in the email. I'm going to go edit this. And I am going to approve this. So hit approve, go down to submit. There we go. So we have approved the task. The task would have been showing up here on this list, but now it's crossed off. One more thing that Jane Doe has accomplished. By the way, you can get these emails, and that's very typical of a workflow like this, or you could have like a dashboard where you just look at these things, every couple hours or so instead of being emailed every single time something happens that needs your attention. This would be another place that Jane could come and approve this. So now let's see if any notifications have happened to Zorro yet. So I'm going to go to Zorro's email. Looks like not yet, but let me refresh this. Just to be safe, I'm actually going to shut this. There it is. Okay, I need to be patient. So Zorro has got an email from Jane, but it was initiated by the workflow, but it came by way of DocuSign. So what we're showing here is an integration with DocuSign. DocuSign is a great complementary tool that works nicely with Nintex workflow. And in this case, I'm just going to show it to you. It's easier to show than to tell. So I'm just going to open up. So in this example, we would open up and say review. And so here I am as Zorro. I've got my offer. And since this is my first time into DocuSign, it's going to ask me to agree to the use of electronic records and signatures. I'm going to hit OK or continue. And this is the offer letter that says, Dear Zorro, on behalf of Cresta Global, I'm pleased to extend this offer to you. By the way, this can be formatted much more nicely, but we had an IT guy that didn't do the pretty work. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. No offense there, IT people. I've been one. My point is, it can be formatted really slick. This one just kind of placing in the fields right on top like this. But it's really a cool feature. So here we have this offer letter. But the cool thing is that this data is coming from SharePoint lists, and then it's integrating with this document that's being as a template that's sitting in DocuSign. So next step, it says start. Basically, it's going to pop us down to the place where it wants to have you approve it. And as far as the approval, we are just going to hit sign. And DocuSign has a few different options. I'm just going to go with the adopt this one, this signature they gave me. It's all coded, it's secure, it's password protected, it's got the date, etc. I'm just going to say adopt and sign. There's other options. I'm not even going to go into them right now. But so now it put the graphic representation of my signature along with the credentials here. And then I just hit finish. Now in the and by the way, then DocuSign tries to advertise and say, hey, do you want to be a DocuSign user? You don't have to sign up for DocuSign to sign a document. You just have to be a DocuSign user to send them. So here's what the document looks like again. I'm going to close this and close this advertisement from DocuSign. They're really trying to get us. And I don't need that. So let's go see what happened in Jane's email. I heard some dinging going on, so I'm going to go up here, look at Jane's email. Well, a couple things happened on Jane's system. We've got this letter saying that Zorro Garcia viewed the offer letter. So even when he simply views the letter, Jane is being notified, which is cool. And then the next email that she got says that Zorro has completed and signed the offer letter. And attached to this offer letter is the a PDF file. That's the offer letter we saw a moment ago. I'm just going to open it up. You can see it as a PDF file. Actually, we're seeing it as a PDF file. Here we go. And you've already seen it, so I'm not going to leave it up long. So let's go look at this workflow for just a minute. There's a few more steps that are going to happen here, but in the meantime, I want to show you what this workflow looks like. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to go over to the onboarding itself. Here's the record that's active right now. And then we're going to go to the SharePoint list. I'm going to go into the Nintex workflow. And so it's behaving better now, speeding things along a little bit quicker. And here is the Nintex workflow where it begins. You can create a new workflow here, or for this list, or you can open up the one that already exists, which is what we're going to do. And you're going to see a more sophisticated workflow. I am not going to go over every little node on this. There's so many of them, and but I'm going to just give you a general idea of how this works. And if you have technical questions, you can email them to me, and I have a solution architect that can help with those questions and answers. But here's what happens. So at the top of the thing, it starts here. And then it does what Nintex calls a state machine. A state machine gives you the opportunity to have different columns or legs within the workflow that have to meet certain conditions. So for example, it all begins here. It starts from left to right, as you might expect. And it hits management first. management is where we're getting the salary approval. This is where it emailed an approval request to the user saying, to the manager saying, hey, do you want to approve this request? And if he or she does approve it, it goes, it says next state, and the next state, they kind of worded a little bit obscure in my opinion, but it calls it secure acceptance. Let's just say it's acceptance. They're saying they are accepting the offer. And when next state says where it's going, it's basically saying I want to go from here over to, next to acceptance. So I'm going to go over here to the secure access right here. So then it goes down this chain. It does some things with dates. It looks to see if there's any missing information like the first name or the last name. If there are, it deals with it. And we're just going to assume the names were fine, and they were in our example. And then it does some things by building a dictionary, and it's getting ready to populate the document, the DocuSign document template. And then it waits for DocuSign and then it sends that document. Once that document has been sent to, in this case, Zorro, well, we have to wait. In the demo, Zorro said right away that, yeah, I'm good. I accept this offer. Well, Zorro might wait, a day or 2 or 3 or whatever. And so what's happening here is there's a looping process going on, a loop while in process. So this just goes on, and every now and then, for the sake of the demo, I made this loop just take 1 minute. I'm going to open it up and show you another example of what this looks like inside. So this is where the value is showing 1 minute loop, but that could be a 5-minute loop, or it could be a 60-minute loop. You want to make some sort of happy compromise between not looping like crazy where it's every minute, of the day you're looking, where it's adding traffic to your network. But you want to look, soon enough to where if you have something going on that you don't have to wait an hour for it to happen. So that's that. And then it keeps looping to see what the status of the envelope is, the DocuSign envelope. And these are the different statuses that can happen. The person could complete it, it could be declined, it could be voided, or there could be some other option. Well, in our example, they completed it. In fact, let's hold right here for a second, and let's go down to this email. See, Zorro now has got a completed, it could be a fully executed document, for him. And let's see if anything else has happened for Jane. Now we're okay with Jane. So let's just finish this up. Back to the workflow. And so here we go. It could be he completed it. So once it was completed, then it goes to the next state of accepted, and it goes way up here to the top again. And again, I'm not going to show you too much more, but it goes down this chain. It sends him an acceptance letter, and then it goes to the IT department. Once it goes to the IT department, it goes down back over here to the IT request, and then here they do something really cool where it sets up. They begin setting up a set of data of the display name, the first name, the last name, the start date, the onboarding ID, and the manager's name. They're taking all that data from the onboarding list that we filled out, and plus a little bit extra data, and they're going to insert it into another SharePoint list called New User Request. So I'm going to pop out of here. That's enough of that. And I'm going to look in this New User Request SharePoint list. And they haven't quite got to that stage yet. Let me just make sure everything's still moving over here. And let me check my email here. Okay, we're good. So anyway, I may not be able to show you the end of this, but basically, let me tell you what happened next. Let's go back to the new user request. Basically, it will the name will populate here, and once it's populated, it will start another workflow, and this workflow does some really cool things. I'm not going to show it. Let me just tell you about it. Basically, it will check for licenses. It will prepare a username based off of a pattern that has been established by the company. It will create a username. It will check for a license, and then it will apply the license if there's a license available. And then it will send HR and the manager the user credentials, username and password for this user. And so there's several other things you can do, like I said at the outset with the onboarding workflow. But that is that's a lot of those are the things I wanted to show you about that. I see that it's 1:37. I'd like to go about 7 or 8 more minutes. I want to show you one more thing that's pretty cool, and then we'll wrap things up. Here is a very simple request. It's an expense report. Well, basically on this expense report, I just want to give you an example where if you, okay, let's just start a new item. Basically, on this expense report, this is something that you can fill out on your computer. You can fill it out on your phone. You can fill it on your tablet, etc. I'm just going to do a real quick one as a Richard. Oops, Richard. I'm going to go to Vegas show, and I'm submitting this today, and I am going to have a flight that was, let's just say it was past tense, and I'm going to say round trip to Vegas, and we'll say $800, and I could add more rows, etc. And so I'm just going to save this, and that will go through I'm not going to take the time to show you the whole thing, but I just wanted to show you that let me go show you how this form is built in Nintex. If you go here to the forms, I've been going to the Nintex workflow button in these cases, but now I'm going to go to the form tool. And it's opening up. One moment, please. But basically, in the form tool, we can have all different type examples of layouts. So at the moment, it's going to open up in a desktop layout. It's still spinning. It will pop up in about 10 more seconds. Here it comes. All right. So this is the desktop layout. We also have a smartphone layout over here in the right panel, and a Nintex mobile layout. And that mobile layout works very well. You could have, if you were on Office 365, you could just pop in the address of the site. If you were on a server-based account, you could just put your account credentials in there and the address, and you could have access to this mobile application and fill it out while you're away from the office, and it will pop into SharePoint. And once it pops into SharePoint, it's going to start the workflow. So I don't think we have quite enough time to show that. So let me just go to my a couple wrap-up slides, and I promise that those of you who have stayed to the end, we're going to have a drawing, and whoever wins the drawing will get a $25 gift card. So we're just coming right up on that right now. So let me pop into my yeah, I'm going to just show, whoops, wrong slide. Let me go down. Don't want to start from the beginning. Let's just go to the end here and touch on a couple things real quick. All right, first of all, my company is SharePoint Revolution. Been doing software solutions for 20 years, SharePoint solutions for 8 years, workflow and document automation for 5. We use Nintex for workflow automation. We use Chorus for document automation. The other offer I have, I don't know if this will apply to anybody, but though these are our partners, Nintex, SharePoint, and Microsoft. If there's anybody out there who is not already a Nintex customer, or if you are a Nintex customer but don't have current resources to help you build Nintex solutions, I would be willing for our company to do a 4-hour proof of concept for you at no charge, as long as there's a potential opportunity on the other end. So that's that. Here's the amazing gift card drawing. And my assistant over here is drawing from the attendees. Drum roll, please. I don't have time to paste your name up on this, but the Amazon gift card's going to Jamie Stoltz. Jamie, I don't know how to say your last name, but I'm going to send you an email with a gift card in it. It's in little tiny writing here in my GoToWebinar screen. So anyway, congratulations, Jamie. I'll send that to you right after the webinar is over. And as far as what's next, contact me if you're interested in the free consulting offer. If you don't have Nintex, contact me for a 30-day trial. We can set that up. We can help you get that going. And join us for the next in the series of the Rapid ROI solutions. The next one is going to be the week after Thanksgiving. It will be on contract management solutions. And then the week after that, the last webinar of the year, is going to be a rerun of the human resource ones, but maybe with a little bit different twist to it. So there may be reason for you to come back, or at least pass this on to another one of your work cohorts that might be interested. It looks like I have one question here. Hang on, let me see. Oh, Jamie's saying thank you and awesome. So you are welcome and awesome. And thank you, everybody, for attending. It's been great. If you have any questions, feel free to email me and even call me. My contact information is on the invitations that you have received. Thanks a lot. We are signing off with a big thank you. Bye-bye.